Now, in addition to issues 1 and 2, Cleveland voters are also voting on issue 38, which has to do with the city's budget. And we're bringing in Mark Naymik for this now, managing editor, of course, of Signal Cleveland. Issue 38, it's nicknamed the People's Budget because it gives Cleveland residents a chance to have a voice in the way a portion of the city's budget on where it's directed and where it will be used. So how does that work, and how much money are we talking?
We're talking 2% of the budget, but the city's operating budget is $700 million. So that translates to $14 million. Wow. And that would give, as you said, a direct say over how that money's spent to residents throughout the city to do that.
Okay, so if this goes through, one of the things that I also found was interesting was the ages that are involved here. Anybody 16 and over can be part of this oversight board, I guess. And then it's 13-year-olds can actually go in and develop an idea and propose it and vote on it. Is that legal?
Well, let's back up just a bit. So it does set aside this money to be spent by what the residents say it should be spent on.
Right.
And to do that, they're going to set up these sort of neighborhood groups that are going to come together and decide on how it's going to be spent. It is a charter amendment, so that makes this very difficult to change. Council can't pass something and change it. But it would have these series of neighborhood votes that could allow people as young as 13 to have a say. They might want to, get a new rec center, or they could decide whatever they want to do with that money. That's what this group is there to argue for.
Which would be very creative.
Yeah.
At the
Now,
end of
these
the
aren't
day.
legally binding votes in the sense of what we're talking about today on Election Day.
Right.
And there may be challenges to even how that process works. Some of that's come up in the debate.
Speaking of challenges, let's talk about who's opposing this, both Mayor Bibb and the president of the city council.
Yeah, council president Blaine Griffin has become, as my colleague Nick Costello has written about, the face of no on this. He's really stepped out. We'll talk about those pros and cons. They're arguing simply that we already are elected to represent the people. We have a very transparent and thorough process about how to decide to spend this money. So the council president's come out against it. The mayor of Cleveland has come out against it, Mayor Bibb. He's one with some strong support from progressive groups. They're not thrilled that he's not on their side on this issue, but he's also not really speaking out against it. Again, council president, as you point out, is the face of this. He's come out against it. On the pro side, the groups supporting this, the activists, the residents, and some other groups say this gives people a real engagement. It gives them a reason to have, and a direct say over money that sometimes gets spent on, in their view, sometimes a pet project, or too much on maybe, roads here when we should be thinking about something on, the other part of town. So they want to grab some of that. Those are the two pro and con side, but it's become very big debate.
Yeah, one of the things that's interesting is President Griffin said these funds will be diverted from safety and services and could throw our budget in disarray. Well, this comes down to money, it sounds like.
Well, and that's a debatable point on exactly where the money would come from.
Right.
And that is a very powerful message. That is the one that the groups against issue 1 are continuing to hammer in flyers. I mean, they've even talked, snowplows are going to come off the street if this thing passes. Now, that's not likely, and the supporters of issue 38 say these are scare tactics, but the city is arguing any money that's diverted means it potentially could come out of the safety budget, which is the largest chunk of the city's budget.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens, particularly considering the fact that there was a pretty solid number of people who came out to get this on the ballot in the first place. I think it was almost double the signatures that they needed. So we'll be watching that today. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Always appreciate your insight.
Thank you,
Mark.